Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls listening around the world, the boys are back. Today is July 5th, 2023. We are one day off of the whole U.S. is on a hangover from celebrating the 247th birthday of the United States of America. Hail to the Eagles, man. USA kicked the Britain's ass 247 years ago. Cam, how are you, my friend?
All right, Bulls. We're back. I'm doing great, Ward. We are the Fat Katz podcast. I'm Cam Taylor, joined by my co-host Ward Sewell, here for episode 13. Ward, I can't believe we've made it 13 episodes, man. This is quite wild to me.
We're two more episodes away from our next big milestone, man. They're just piling up at this point.
But as Ward said, we want to say we hope everybody had a happy and a safe 4th of July weekend and day here on Tuesday. But most importantly to me, Ward, I want to give a shout out.
Cam, today's Wednesday.
Yeah, I know, but yesterday was 4th of July. That's what I meant. But I want to give a huge shout out to my mom. It's her birthday, the 2nd of July. Thanks for being such a great mother, and I love you with all my heart. I'd never say that to her face, so I hope she listens to this podcast because she ain't getting it past that. But
happy birthday, Mama T.
I appreciate it. She appreciates it. We do have some big news for the giveaway winner, Ward. Our boy Justin Alford won the giveaway this morning. We put all 100 names in a random wheel generator, and Justin won it. Talk about hard work, and to get to this point, Justin is one of our best listeners, so we're glad that he was able to get the giveaway here.
Hey, shout out to the boy Justin. You got some cool stuff coming your way, my friend. So, and Cam did the whole giveaway. It is ironically the one that leaves the best comments on our YouTube. Our listeners need to get like that guy, by the way. But shout out to Justin. Glad you're a part of the brand, brother.
But Ward, do you have any outstanding stories or cool things that happened this weekend or on Tuesday?
I have a great story, Cam. I'm not even sure if I told you about this yet. So I fished in a mahi-mahi tournament this weekend out of Oak Island, North Carolina. Not good fishing at all. So if any of y'all have ever been deep sea fishing before, you got to get 60 miles. You have to go 60 miles out to get to the Gulf Stream, which takes roughly 2.5 to 3 hours. We left about 7 o'clock in the morning. Weather was great. The beers were flowing. The damn fireball shooters were jumping, or they were flowing too. But anyway, we get all the way out there. Long story short, we get all the way out there. It takes us 2 hours, and there's a storm. So, you're not going to mess with Mother Nature when you're 60 miles out in the ocean. So then we churn our happy butts around. We come right back. Didn't catch any mahi. We caught a couple false albacore. They're in the tuna family. Not good to eat. Then we caught some Spanish mackerel right in front of the pier. So, yeah, and then that, and I know Cam can say the same. We got in some fights with the sun. We got a little sunburnt this weekend, but hey, if you're not getting sunburnt and drinking beer on 4th of July, you're not American.
I agree with you, man. You know what they say, Ward? The worst day of fishing is better than the best day at work.
That's exactly what I kept saying, man. That's exactly what I kept saying.
But yeah, I got to hit the links this weekend. Well, first of all, I went to West Virginia, one to celebrate my mother's birthday, but also to see the fam for the 4th, and then got back here and played a round of golf yesterday with some of the boys in Charlotte. Ward, the golf game since the first time I played this year has improved dramatically.
I heard. The big dog is back.
The big dog is back. One of my buddies here is a swing coach, so he has absolutely transformed my golf game. So I want to say shout out to Colby, man. He's got me right.
Are the drives slicing or hooking or going straight?
We're going straight, man. First time in my life, I'm going straight. But the bad thing is I still play the slice, so I hit everything left now.
Oh, yeah. Hey, for any of our listeners, Cam shot a 43 yesterday in golf on 9 holes. That's pretty. That's really good. That's breaking 90 on 18 holes. So
that was
really
by
good.
far my best score on a 9 hole. We played till 11. I don't think I could have kept it up in the back 9. But before we get into it here, I want to remind everybody that you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Just type in the Fat Katz podcast. That's KATZ. We're also on Instagram and TikTok at Fat Katz Pod. Ward, we got our first post taken down by Instagram yesterday.
What post?
I posted a TikTok of Joe Burrow saying the Pledge of Allegiance to celebrate 4th of July, and Instagram told me that was owned by a corporation and was not allowed to be posted.
You have got to be kidding
Yeah.
me.
So we got taken down for posting the Pledge of Allegiance on the Instagram.
Breaking news: China has now taken over Instagram as well.
They hate us, man. They hate us because they ain't us.
I know they do hate us because they ain't us. We're the best country there is, and they suck.
But just a preview real quick. We got first favorite and forgotten. We've got fans fat takes. It's not so fat this week. The listeners did not participate up to our standard this week, which is okay. We got top stories. We've got a Fat Katz draft, which this one's going to be a fun one for sure. Got some NBA news, some NFL news, a bunch of UFC news coming down the pipe. Joey Chestnut continues his reign. And of course, everybody's favorite segment, Pet Peeve of the Week, is back.
Pet Peeve of the Week, baby.
We'll play Empty Stomach is back. And then at the end, we'll round it out with Song of the Week. So, Ward, let's get into it. Give me your first favorite and forgotten for number 13 here today.
The big 1-3, and this one's going to come a little sour off of my off of the lips here, but Devin Leary was the first one I thought of number 13. He's been NC State's quarterback since 2018. You know, he's been good for us, been battling a little bit of injuries, but he decided to leave us and go to Kentucky. You know, not going to talk any trash to him, all power to him, but he's not going to win any more games at Kentucky than he did at NC State. He plays a lot harder teams at Kentucky than he did in the ACC. But anyway, that was my first for number 13. My favorite, and, you know, I know this will hit a lot of people, Kurt Warner, back in the day, walk-on mentality. You know, I know you hear me and Cam talk about that a lot. And then the forgotten this week is going to be the New York Giants, Odell Beckham Jr., one leg, one catch wonder. He torched the Redskins for multiple years and torched Josh Norman for multiple years after he left the Panthers. So he's my forgotten.
I like it. I think Devin Leary is our first Eskimo Brothers moment when it comes to NC State and Kentucky. I can't think of another guy besides Sasha Kalea-Jones, basketball-wise, who actually didn't play a second for NC State. So
yeah, I believe our running back committed to y'all as well. He has two last names. He's pretty good.
Yep, Sharko.
I'm not sure how much playing time he'll get. He was our 2 at State, but he's a power back. He's pretty good. So we have 2 Eskimo Bros, man.
I love the hopefully it becomes a yearly tradition of Kentucky just getting the best players from State. I would not be too mad about that.
Y'all got Leary, I'll give you that.
My first person that came to my mind when I thought of 13 was Steve Nash, one of the staples of us growing up when it comes to NBA. Although he did steal an MVP from Kobe and an MVP from LeBron, he is still one of the greatest point guards to ever touch the basketball court. And I'm going basketball heavy today. My favorite is Wilt Chamberlain, not because I got to watch him, but my grandfather was a huge Wilt Chamberlain fan, and he's got some of the greatest stories of any sports lore of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem tells a story of him and Wilt being in an elevator together, and a sports writer gets on the elevator with him, and he looks at Kareem and Wilt and says, "How's the weather up there?" Wilt spits on him in the elevator and says it's raining. That's just one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. If you're not familiar with Wilt Chamberlain, first of all, go look at his stats, bro. This guy's like a folklore when it comes to basketball, and go listen to some of the stories some of these guys tell because it's hilarious. Lastly, my forgotten is Moses Malone. He wore 13 with the St. Louis Spirits in the ABA. One of the greatest centers of all time, probably the greatest rebounder of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody really talks about him when we talk about the greatest centers. And lastly, he's the first NBA Nike athlete of all time. But that is our first favorite and forgotten. We're going to get to the fans' fat takes here, Ward, and we only had one from a fan, and obviously everybody knows who it is. It's Justin Alford giving us his take. This is one of the funniest comments I've seen since we started doing this podcast, Ward. He said his favorite sports duo from our draft last week was UGA football and the Clark County Sheriff's Department. He said it's one of his favorite off-season duos, seeing which dogs make it to the pound for miscellaneous charges. That had me cackling when I read that at first. So shout out to Justin for a great comment there.
Justin, I love it. Down there in Athens, they must put something different in the water than they do in Clemson. Because I don't hear about Clemson boys getting in trouble much. I just hear of them getting in little mishaps with massage parlors. But yeah, something must be going on down in Athens. And to all our listeners too, hey, we love doing this hot takes We love doing the fans fat takes. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. But let's get some comments going, y'all. Y'all have me and Cam's numbers. Y'all got us on YouTube. You got us on Instagram. Shoot some messages our way. We love to hear it.
Yep. And Ward, me and you are going to come into this segment real quick. We're not fans. We are the Fat Cat, but we've got some spicy takes to get off here. So I'm going to let you have the floor on your spicy take. You touched on it last episode. We did have some people ask about it because people thought you mistalked. You did not mistalk. You're doubling down. Let's hear it, Ward.
I'm doubling down. I'm just gonna come out and double or nothing. Say it again. Victor Wemby Nana is a bust. He's gonna suck. He weighs 180 pounds and he's 7'5". As soon as a guy like Giannis or as soon as another big guy drives the paint and lowers their shoulder into that guy's sternum, he is not gonna react well. You can't be that small and be that successful. I had an argument with my brother about this. He was talking about, oh, well, KD's tall and lanky. KD's a 3 and a 2. KD is not in the paint guarding 4s and 5s. So I still, and after watching the commercial, I still think he's going to suck because he can't shoot very well. But we'll see. I think he's going to be a bust, Cam.
I can't say I agree with you, Ward.
I think he is going to be a bust.
If this was 20 years ago, I would see what you're saying. But I don't think we have enough guys that play that style of ball that
but
can
see
hurt him.
The thing is it is an offensive style game now, correct? And we'll all, and you go and watch him. He's wherever he's playing, France or whatever, wherever league he came from, he's not playing any talent over there. And then when he goes in and finally plays some talent, him and Scoot Henderson played against each other. He had a far better team than Scoot Henderson did. Scoot gave him the work. Obviously they're different positions, but I mean, I think he's going to come in and play against talent that he's never seen before. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it is an offensive league now, but with as much hype as this guy has around him, he has a target on his back and a chip on his shoulder everywhere he goes. So people are going to give him their best.
All right, we'll see. I would definitely bet on him being good than being a bust, but injuries also are going to play a part in his career. I mean, how many 7-foot plus guys do you see have long, illustrious careers in the NBA? It's not very many.
Not many.
My fat take is I want to say I'm sorry to Dillon Brooks.
The man got paid.
I talked cash junk about Dillon Brooks for weeks on end on this podcast. The man turns around and signs a 4-year, $80 million deal with the Rockets. I'm sorry, Dillon Brooks. I still don't like you, but I'm sorry that I talked so bad about you. I'm being a man right now. I'm walking back. If I get any Dillon Brooks shade from here on out, man, I'm still coming for the neck. I'm still coming for the throat. Dillon Brooks still stinks in my mind, and he should be in China right now. But I want to say I'm sorry because that man got paid. I don't know how, but he got paid. And shout out to him, man.
What did he get paid? Was it 4-year, 82 mil or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 480, and I believe it was the Rockets.
The Rockets, yeah, the Rockets are paying a lot of people right now. But
we'll get into another one here in a minute. But top stories real quick. Well, it feels like we talk about this guy every episode, Ward. Dame officially requests a trade out of Portland. Officially. I feels like this happens every offseason. I always go by the thing, like, when he gets traded, I'll talk about it. But when he officially requests a trade, I guess that means more. I don't really have anything to say. Miami seems like the favorite here. But that's really all I know about this situation at the moment.
Yeah, Cam, you hit the nail on the head. I'll believe it when I see it, my friend.
Moving on real quick. Ant-Man is now paid, man. Anthony Edwards gets 5-year, $260 million
good for him.
Max extension. One of my favorite young players in the league. Kind of a dumpster fire in Minnesota right now, but if there's one piece of light that every Minnesotan can have is that Anthony Edwards is that guy. He's one of my favorite players by far in this league.
And I will say, in 2019, Western Carolina gave Anthony Edwards of Georgia the work. They beat us in overtime by 2 points, but our guards were shutting Anthony Edwards down. I think he only had, 18 against us or 20 against us. So, which is still very good, a lot better than I could ever do. But, yeah, shout out, go Cats.
Fred VanVleet to the Rockets, another guy that the Rockets paid. 3 years, $128 million.
He's good. He's not that damn good.
That's what I was about to say. For a small guard that can't defend, who struggled last year, who's like 28 years old to give 3 years 128 when you already have Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green on the roster. Doesn't make sense to me, but if you've got money, you might as well spend it, I guess.
And that's why and Cam, I even talked about, I thought the Rockets were going to try to go after James Harden again because they have so much money to spend, and where is it going to go? But obviously, between Dillon Brooks and, given that's $200 million in two players right there. So, and Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. So, yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how Houston goes about this. They just fired their coach. They've got a bunch of young guys, and now they're bringing in a ball-dominant guard and a guy in Dillon Brooks who has a reputation, we'll say, across the league. I hope it doesn't stunt some of the growth of these young guys, but it seems like they're trying to make a move to where they're actually winning basketball games now, which will be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And for all you guys, I'm sorry, like this is kind of the show right now, but with us being a free agency, like it's just going to be us telling the numbers on these guys.
The numbers. These guys are getting paid.
Speaking of guys getting paid.
Cam, real quick, man. Hey, shout out to our listeners. We do have our first live audience. Madison, say what's up to everybody.
She's leaving right now, which is hilarious.
Yeah, she's going to work, and all the dogs were barking too. So, Cam, sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
Well, it's a good thing we've got these high-quality microphones, Ward, because I couldn't even tell that the dogs were barking.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Hillbilly Kobe gets his max extension. Austin Reeves, 4 years,
Hillbilly Kobe,
$54 million. Can you believe that Austin Reeves is making $54 million over a 4-year period, Ward?
Hillbilly Kobe, I love the nickname. But see, the thing is, and he took a pay cut to go. Austin Reeves took a pay cut to come to stay in LA. He could have gone anywhere else and probably not double that, but he would have made.
He would have got a Dillon Brooks contract.
He would have got a Dillon Brooks contract if he went somewhere else. But he wants to win, and I guess the other teams that were looking at him were not in a winning position like the Lakers are. Still don't think the Lakers are in a winning position. Sorry to tell you that, Logan Shoop, but yeah.
Real quick, down to our last two here. Domantas Sabonis extended with the Kings.
That's
5 years, $217 million. Ward, when you look at like on our sheet right now, I just have 217M. When you go on Google and actually look at the numbers, that's a lot of commas, bro. That's a lot of commas and a lot of digits. And
I didn't think he was that good.
He's a top 5 center.
Yeah. I'm looking him up on Google right now. I didn't think he was that good.
In an NBA with weak centers, I don't have it in front of me. I would say probably averaged 18, 10, and 4 last year. Ward, I don't know if you're looking.
I think he averaged 19.5, and then I'm not sure what the other two are. That's how many points he averaged.
So, and he's the second best player on that Kings roster behind Fox.
Yeah,
that's and a guy that they traded a young asset for in Tyrese Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy you want to keep around. And lastly, we've got Russ, 2 years, $7.8 million to stay with the Clippers. Shout out to Russ for being a team guy. He could have got a lot more money on this market.
He could, yeah. I think he's at this point, if he keeps playing the way he does, I think he's starting to ruin his legacy a little bit. I think he needs to I'd give it one more year. If he has a bad year this year, I think it's time to hang it up.
Yeah, it's been a sad fall from grace.
Yeah.
One of the most fun players when we were coming up, like in his MVP years, but he's been tough to watch the past few years.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And moving on, Ward, something that we kind of started last episode, and we're going to continue it today. It's the Fat Katz draft. This is a thing where we get 5 slots each. Today, we're going to be picking our most iconic sports moments. This is going to be a fun one. Keep this in the back of your mind, guys. Like, tell us if we missed something at the end. Comment,
and we probably will miss something because we're only doing 5.
There's no probably. We will miss something that you think is a top moment in sports, and we apologize. But let us know about it. Like, we're here, we're putting it out here. Let us know. But Ward, I'm going to give you the dance floor. It's your tee box with the first pick, your most iconic sports moments.
Absolutely. And I will say, too, that this is opinionated as well. This might be not the biggest rated. This is going to be opinionated. But my number one sports moment as an NC State fan, as a sports fan of all time, and as one of the best stories ever, was in 1982-1983 college basketball season. NC State came into the ACC tournament with a losing record. They were 2 games below 500. ended up rallying, winning the ACC tournament, then going into the NCAA tournament, beating Houston in 1983 to win the Natty. And I think that's the opinionated wise, obviously. Jim Valvano, the surviving advance. I think that's the greatest sports moment of all time.
I love it. It was on my list. I knew you were going to pick it, so
Yeah.
that's why I gave you the first pick. The cardiac pack, one of the greatest 30 for 30s you'll
ever
watch.
One of the greatest 30 for 30s ever. Not even being a State fan there.
With my first pick, I'm going to take the infamous block, Curry back to Iguodala, blocked by James, the block that sealed the 3-1 comeback in 2018 or 2016 for LeBron and the Cavs. That is probably the most electric moment I can think of in our lifetime, especially with it being arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, arguably the greatest comeback in finals history. That is one of the moments that will live in NBA lore forever.
Cam, I love it. That was actually my number 3. So love it. I'm going number 2 here. I'm going to take the 2013 Iron Bowl, I believe, the Alabama or the Auburn kick 6 to win it. They, if any of y'all saw it, I actually saw the highlight this morning again. It's the most legendary call from an Auburn reporter or an Auburn announcer of all time. They were from the 39. So I think it was a 54-yard kick or something like that. 53-yard kick. Misses it, and then Chris Davis catches it at the
1-inch line.
The 1-inch line, and takes it 109 yards back to win the game. The place goes ape shit. It was electric. I think that's probably the best college football moment ever, arguably, but that is my number 2, Cam.
Yeah, that was my 3. That is one of the moments in sports where it's like, where were you when this happened?
Yep.
I can tell you I was at my granny's house in the living room watching it with my entire Vince Aguirre side of the family.
Yeah.
And we were just going crazy. We couldn't believe that this Auburn team, that was a bad Auburn team, people forget, beat Alabama the way they did.
Yep.
One of the greatest sports moments in history, as you said, Ward. My number 2, I'm going to keep it in basketball here. I'm going to go MJ's winning shot in Game 6 against the Jazz in 98. When you think basketball, a lot of people, that's the first memory they have when you just think of NBA basketball. And, yeah, I mean, the greatest player, arguably the greatest player of all time, 1 and 2, makes that shot against the Jazz to get his second three-peat, and then obviously eventually retires and then goes to the Wizards later.
Yep. Cam, I love it. I had that on my list as well. Just marked it off, but I'm going my number 3 here, and I'm staying at home, staying with football, staying with NC State. 2021, Devin Leary passed to Devin Carter in double overtime to beat Clemson Tigers in Raleigh, North Carolina. Carter Finley Stadium is the first ACC game that Clemson has lost in 2 years, and I believe the first road game they've lost since 2016 or 17. Somebody's going to have to quote me on that. But, yeah, Raleigh Wood was absolutely electric. They burnt down Glenwood that night. The boys were raising hell. State still, I think we lost Kentucky that year, but in the Belk Bowl in Charlotte. But yeah, it was great time to be a Wolfpack fan.
That was one of the most fun games of that season to watch. I remember almost that entire last drive.
Yep.
Man, Emeka made a huge play in that drive as well. You actually lost to Kentucky in the Gator Bowl in Tampa that year, Ward. I was
Tampa.
There. Yeah, but a great moment. I don't know. For me, obviously not being a State fan, I don't know if it cracks my top 10, but that's a great moment and a great game from that college football season. With my number 3, I don't know if you can see it here, Ward, but I've got the Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle newspaper clip here. That is going to be my number 3. One of the most iconic boxing matches, moments, knockouts in history. Muhammad Ali knocks out George Foreman.
Yep.
In I don't know what country. I totally forgot, to be honest with you. But one of the most iconic boxing pictures, moments, matches of all time.
You know, Cam, I'm staying here in football. I know you've done a lot of basketball. I'm doing a lot of football. My next one is going to be the Minneapolis Miracle. I can't remember what year this was off the top of my head. I think it was
2018.
2018, yeah. It was Stephon Diggs caught the ball on the sideline. The guy from the Saints just completely his controller turned off and he didn't know where he was, missed the tackle. And, yeah, and then next thing you know, Stephon Diggs takes it back. Or no, was it the Rams or it was the Saints, right?
Yeah, it was against the Saints.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then, Next thing you know, Stephon Diggs runs 30 yards in, and the Minnesota Vikings win the game.
That is a great moment. One, because of the play, how ridiculous it was.
Yep.
The guy just like whiffed on that tackle. But also the memes that came from that. Like
Oh,
you get the helmet throw as a meme, and then you get the crying tapping his chest as a meme. It was a great play all in all, and all the moments that followed was pretty awesome as well.
yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off you a little bit, keeping in football here. With my fourth pick, I'm gonna go Santonio Holmes' catch in the Super Bowl against the Cardinals in 2009.
Love it.
That is one of my favorite moments ever as a Steelers fan. When people say, like, what is your greatest moment? That's it. But I also say that is the greatest throw I've ever seen on the NFL field.
Big Ben. Shout out Big Ben.
Throwing it over three guys on a dime to Santonio Holmes to win that game. You couldn't keep me quiet in my house in Nashville, Tennessee when we won that football game. I didn't even go to school the next day, Ward. My dad didn't even make me go to school. It was awesome. One of my favorite moments in sports history.
Love it. Love it. And I'm going to go I'm going to keep this one here in mixed martial arts. I think this is number 5, Cam.
Yep.
This is going to be 2000. Connor Aldo. What year was that? It wasn't 13, was it?
I think it was 14 or 15.
Okay. Well, anyway, my number 5. I didn't have any basketball here. I'm sorry to all our basketball listeners, but my number 5 is going to be Conor McGregor knocking out Jose Aldo to take the 145 belt. Jose Aldo hasn't lost in 9 years up to this point. He was undefeated in the UFC, had beat everybody. It's kind of like Israel Adesanya's run in 85 now. He had already beat everybody. Some up-and-coming guy came, and it was the UFC's first world tour. It was at that time the biggest pay-per-view times 2 than any other pay-per-view in the history. And then Conor knocked him out in 13 seconds, and the whole country of Ireland raised hell. And yeah, that's my number 5.
So I'm down to my last one, and I've got a bunch here that I like, Ward. But I think that I'm going to go with the Ray Allen corner 3 against the Spurs in 2013. The funny thing about basketball, and I know I put a lot of basketball on here today, is like the calls you get from basketball. Like I can still remember, like James for 3, no good, rebounded by Bosch, out to Allen for 3, bang! So that's part of it for me, is just like, can I remember the calls? Like, do I remember where I was? I remember where I was when I was watching this game. I remember the call. And talk about a guy saving a legacy for somebody. Ray Allen absolutely saved LeBron James' legacy.
Yep.
But that is the rounded out version of the Fat Katz draft for most iconic sports moments. Ward, do you have any honorable mentions you want to throw in here?
I can't believe none of us didn't put any NCAA tournament. We're going to get grilled for this, but none of us put any NCAA tournament moments. I'll go ahead and throw one in there really quick off the top of my head. As you all know, I hate the North Carolina Tar Heels and I hate the Dallas Cowboys. And a couple years back, I think it was 2018, Villanova, Carolina hit a shot with 3 seconds left. Villanova marched down the court, tossed it back, 3-pointer to win the game, sent the Chapel Hill dummies home. So, yeah, that's my honorable mention.
Well, we did have a tournament with you with the NC State, Ward.
But not one particular moment. That was
So I've got a pretty good list here of honorable mentions that made my list, but I had some over top of it. First one, the Immaculate Reception, Franco Harris versus the Raiders in the playoffs. The Philly special in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Luke May's shot against UK in the Elite Eight, the year they won the national championship. I've got American Pharaoh, the Triple Crown in 2015. I've got UMBC beating UVA in 2018, the first 16-1 upset of all time. I've got the OBJ catch in 2014, the one-handed catch that blew up the internet. And then lastly, I've got Dame calls game against OKC in 2019. Not so much because they got knocked out in the next round, but that series was so fun to watch. Him and Russ going back and forth. He hits the sidestep over PG. He does the Dame Tom. He waves goodbye. It's just the whole iconic situation that happened after. It was so fun to watch. But that's my Fat Katz draft right there. Mine and Ward's. We'll put up a graphic. You guys can vote who had the best draft. That's kind of what we want to start doing with this. If we missed anything, let us know again.
Comment. Let us know.
And moving on, we've got just a little bit of news coming up here. We got the NBA. We've got the Summer League coming on. Ward, are you going to be watching the Summer League at all?
No, I haven't watched it yet. I may tune in a little bit. I'd like to see the bus Victor Wemby play whenever he decides to come out and play. But I miss Brandon Miller. Did you watch him play the other night?
I saw his stat line at halftime, and I decided it was better for me to just not watch that horrific basketball.
Yeah, he did. But see, the thing is, too, you can't get too carried away with summer ball. The same thing happened to Zion a couple of years ago. They had Zion cams on ESPN Plus watching him during summer ball, and it's just, at the end of the day, it's like preseason. You can't get too carried away with it, but we'll see. I probably will tune in. Yes,
I'll watch a few games here and there if there's like two guys I want to watch.
I like watching the big names. I don't care to watch teams.
Well, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it either. If it's on, I'll put it on, but I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, the Magic are playing the Rockets on Summer League. I've got to turn it on.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Magic waived Bol today. Do you think Victor Wembanyama is going to be better or worse than Bol?
I would hope he's better with the amount of. I don't think Bol's that good, but if he's not better than Bol, he's going to go down as Kwame Brown bust, Greg Oden bust. So hope he's not that bad.
We've got the Fat Katz were wrong about Draymond. Again, we were wrong about another thing. We said that there was no way that Draymond was going back to Golden State. Here we go. Draymond getting a 4-year, $100 million deal with Golden State. And another guy,
money, man.
Another guy. Can you believe Draymond Green is making $100 million?
Dude, Draymond Green's gray. I mean, he's fully gray in the beard, and they're giving him another 4 years. I don't think he can get out of bed without his back hurting. He is completely out of his prime. One, but two, he couldn't have gone anywhere else and been successful. He would have got paid somewhere else, but he would have sucked. He knows that Warriors team way too well.
Well, he is the heart and soul of that team too. Like without Draymond, as good as Curry and Clay were, like I don't know if that team goes that far.
No.
He's the defender. He's the guy that sets the tone. As much as people hate him, like he's got that nasty about him that you need to be a great team.
There's a dog in him.
He is Warriors basketball, if you think about it, honestly. We got some NCAA men's basketball real quick. Javon Quinterly of Alabama has entered the portal. And Kentucky went into WVU forward Trey Mitchell, which is a huge addition to this team, especially with Kentucky playing in the World Games next week starting. So we got a forward. Aaron Bradshaw hurt, so he's not playing in the World Games. We needed some depth. Got it with the WVU transfer. And then we've got the NFL award. I know you wanted to talk about the Madden curse a little bit here.
I'm very curious about it. As everybody might have seen, might not have seen, this year's Madden 20, was it Madden 24 now?
Yep.
Yeah, so this year's Madden 24 is actually going to be Josh Allen is going to be on the cover. And, statistically speaking, the last almost every single Madden athlete or Madden cover athlete has had a down year the year after. And Josh Allen since, the Bills have had have a great regular season, make it to the playoffs, get beat. Great regular season, make it to the playoffs, get beat. So I don't think the Bills can afford to have a Madden curse this year. So I don't know. I don't know if statistically speaking, it's going to affect them. What do you think? I don't know.
It's a fun thing to keep track of, just because how crazy is it that a guy being on a cover of a video game would curse this season? But he's got a rough start to the season if we're talking Madden curses, because his wide receiver 1 hasn't even shown up to the facility yet.
But very true.
I'm excited to see this Bills team. I feel like if they don't get it done this year, it might be time for not a rebuild, but get some new guys in the door, get some old guys out. So we'll keep track of the Madden curse. The only people I can think of in my head that haven't been hit by the Madden curse is Brady and Mahomes.
Mahomes, the GOAT edition 2 years ago, the only ones that didn't.
Ward, we've got a very interesting thing here. You sent it to me today. This came out a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, actually.
And we just now noticed it, and I wanted to touch on it very bad. So
we've got the top 10 rated quarterbacks. Is this of the 2010s?
This is
the 2000s?
Of the 2000s, yeah. And this is, keep in mind, this is not opinionated at all. This is ESPN college football. ESPN CFB on Instagram posted this in a list. It was the top 10 quarterbacks of, I guess this decade. I'm not sure.
Yep. So it'll be 2000 to 2023. I'm going to read it off real quick, just kind of quick, and then we'll touch on what bothers us the most. Obviously, I'll let Ward go first, but at 10, we've got RG3. At 9, Marcus Mariota. At 8, Lamar Jackson. 7, Kyler Murray. 6 Deshaun Watson, 5 Joe Burrow, 4 Tim Tebow, 3 Vince Young, 2 Cam Newton, and number 1 Baker Mayfield. Ward, I know you've got some strong opinions on this. I do as well, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think this list is absolutely bogus. I don't know if either an Oklahoma fan put this together or some kids drew this up in elementary school or what. I don't know how you can put Baker Mayfield. I'm just going to start off with Baker Mayfield. I don't know how you can put Baker Mayfield at 1 in front of 5 guys that won national championships in college. Baker Mayfield had one good year. He had one good year at Oklahoma, and they went. And they made the top 4, but they got beat. They got beat in the Rose Bowl by who was it? Georgia beat them that year.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't know. That's one that really got me. I think at being a Redskins fan, I think RG3 is better than Mariota, but maybe that's just me. Another one that I really wanted to touch on. I think personally in my list, 1 is Tim Tebow. I think Tim Tebow is the greatest college quarterback ever. I mean, the success he had for 4 years at Florida is nobody's ever had the same success as that. But yeah, that's one I wanted to touch on. If you're putting 1-year wonders up, you cannot put Baker Mayfield in front of Joe Burrow. They have Joe Burrow at 5, which is pretty interesting. They left a few very key people off of this list that I think is pretty interesting. If you look, you don't see any Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston won a Heisman and a national championship he won a Heisman and a national championship at Florida State, and he was a first pick in the draft. No Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence won a national championship as well. Trevor Lawrence also had a better statistical career than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's at 6. Trevor Lawrence is not on there. And the one that really got me that is thrown off, and arguably one of the greatest college football players ever, there's no Johnny Manziel, no Johnny Football on this list. Cam, I gave my opinion on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Baker at 1 is, to me, just a way to get people to click on your link.
It's clickbait. It has to be.
Because there's no way a person that actually watched this game could actually believe that Baker Mayfield is the best player on this list. I would put Baker closer to 10 than 1.
I would too.
He's not better than Cam Newton. He's not better than Vince Young. He's not better than Tim Tebow. He's not better than Joe Burrow. I don't think he's better than Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's better than Kyler Murray, Ward.
I don't either.
I really don't. And Lamar Jackson, I think Lamar Jackson at 8 is the biggest travesty on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson had one of the greatest seasons of any college quarterback. And this pains me. You know, I hate Louisville more than anybody. Lamar Jackson is one of the top 5 quarterbacks of the 2000s. Yep. And it's not close. He took a terrible Louisville team and made them a 11-win football team and took them to a New Year's Six Bowl and won a Heisman. If you put him on that Baker Mayfield Oklahoma team, they win a national championship.
Absolutely.
But
you see how that success carries into the pros as well.
That is the biggest thing for me is Lamar being so low. I see what you're saying about RG3 and Mariota. I would flip them. I don't like Kyler Murray on this list really at all, even though I think he's better than Baker. I would put, like you said, I would put Lawrence over him. I would put probably Manziel over him, honestly.
He played 1 year as well.
Deshaun, I like at 6. Joe Burrow, I like behind Tebow and Young, obviously. I think Cam Newton's the greatest quarterback I've seen play college football personally. So I would go Cam Newton 1, Vince 2, Tebow 3, Burrow 4, personally. But again, guys, give us your comments. Are you guys as tore up about Baker as we are? Because I can't believe somebody's watched college football even for 5 years and put that guy in their top 5.
And see, the thing is, man, it's this ESPN college football posted it too, who is
it's not some Joe Schmo,
no,
like one of our buddies from college. It's a guy who gets paid to watch college football putting this list out. It's insane to me, Ward. But that's all I have on it.
Friend.
That's all I have. That tore me up a little bit because there's so many quarterbacks better than Baker Mayfield. And I'm going to stop now because obviously we don't need this to be a 20-minute segment. But
yeah,
please tell us if we're wrong, because I don't think we're wrong. But if we're wrong, tell us. Give us the stats. Tell us who got left out. Tell us who you move around. We want to hear what you guys have to say. But moving on, we've got a lot of UFC stuff. We've got 290 coming up this weekend, Ward. I want to do picks on this card. So we've got the main card we're going to do picks on. Our first match, or our main event of the night is going to be the featherweight championship. We're going to have Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair
Jair
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Who you got there, Ward?
I have Volk. I'm a big Volk fan. I think Volk's the pound for pound right now, number one. The only thing I'm scared about Volk is he is overlooking Yair. He's looking up at that 55 division again, wanting his rematch. So it scares me a little bit. Yair's good, but I mean I'm not gonna overplay Volk.
Yep, I'm taking Volk. Anybody from City Kickboxing is good by me.
Yep.
I'm taking any City Kickboxer over anybody, just about. Our co-main is the flyweight championship. We've got Brandon Moreno versus Alex Pantoja. I don't even know if I've heard of this or watched this guy fight.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Moreno.
Me too. Second down.
Third fight, we've got Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whitaker versus Distris Dupleix. I don't know who that is either. I'm taking Robert Whitaker.
So this Dupleix guy, he is from South Africa. He's an up and comer.
Is this the guy that's been talking to Usman?
He's been talking to yes, he's been talking to all of them. He told Izzy he was going to drag him up and down Africa. This guy is not very good, man. It'd be one thing if he's knocking everybody out and it's just technically he's not a good. He almost got beat by Derek Brunson. He just fought Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson, he caught him in the third round and finished him, but this guy is not technical. Izzy, and the winner of this fight is fighting Izzy again. And Izzy would pick this dude apart, man. Like I personally wouldn't even pay for it. I mean, the UFC is going to try to hype it up because Izzy's already beat everybody at 85. He has nobody else left to beat. So they're trying to push this guy. They're trying to push Sean Strickland. They're trying to push anybody. And so I have Robert Whitaker. I think it's going to be a third fight between him and Izzy. Again, they're going to fight again. But yeah, I have Bobby Knuckles here.
Just speaking of 85 real quick, we've got to get Hamzat making weight in 85.
I don't know what's the deal with that, man. He can't make weight at 70 is his problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's at 85. Now, that dude hasn't fought in over a year. I don't know how you're an up-and-comer climbing up the rankings and you're not fighting. I don't know if he's hurt or if there's obviously some stuff going on, but yeah, not sure what's going on with him.
That's a guy at 85 I would love to see fight Izzy. That would be a fun fight to me.
Yeah.
Moving on real quick.
I'd like to see him fight Bo Nickel more than anybody.
That would be a fun fight to watch for sure.
He's not going to out-wrestle Bo Nickel, I promise you that.
No. Moving on real quick. I said I will not take anybody, or I will take anybody from City Kickboxing. So Dan Hooker versus Jalen Turner. As much as I like Jalen Turner and as fun as he is to watch fight, I gotta go Dan Hooker.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you here. I think it's gonna be a good fight, but I'm taking Dan Hooker.
And the last fight, or the first fight on the main card, is Bo Nickel versus Valentine Woodburn, which sounds like a character from Red Dead Redemption.
Yep.
But I'm taking Bo Nickel until he loses.
Yeah, so he was supposed to originally fight Trayshawn Gore. Trayshawn Gore was off the Ultimate Fighter a couple of years ago. Trayshawn Gore is a young guy, and he's battling injuries early. This is the second 2 out of the last 3 fights he's had to pull out of. But this Valentine Woodburn guy, it's actually his first fight in the UFC. He's 8-0 in other organizations. He actually just won, I believe it's the state of Florida Mixed Martial Arts Championship for 185. This guy's good. He's a giant. He looks like he's a real buff dude. He almost looks like a 185 Brock Lesnar. Almost. He's just real buff dude, real cut dude. He has no wrestling at all. So if I had to give a prediction for this, Cam, I watch a lot of UFC. I think Bo Nickel's it's gonna be a first round submission. I think Bo Nickel's gonna take him down and pretty much do whatever he wants to with him.
Look at our on the field reporter here, Ward, giving us the background.
Hey, American wrestlers, I like them.
But lastly, for this card is Robbie Lawler's farewell tour. He's the main event on the not main card, the prelims.
The prelims.
So
it's crazy.
Legendary career. Probably should have hung him up a little bit earlier than this, but a guy that we grew up watching and was so fun to watch. We wish him nothing but the best here. Real quick. Rogan's returning to the booth for 290 here. The greatest trio of him and John Anik and DC. Obviously. It's so fun to listen to. It's like having 3 best friends call the fight for you. I cannot wait for Joe Rogan to get back. And lastly, on the UFC, Aljo had an interesting quote yesterday. This is Aljamain Sterling. He's fighting Sean O'Malley at 292 for the championship. And he said that fighting Sean O'Malley is against his will, Ward. He said that Dana made this fight happen. He had no say whatsoever. That's not what you want to hear out of your you want to hear your champion say anybody anywhere. If a guy's saying that like he's fighting somebody against his will, that's probably not a good sign.
Well, Leon Edwards is saying the same thing about Colby. So, but no, I saw you through this or you told me a little bit about it. I personally did not see this quote, but it's especially 2 weeks out of their fight, it seems really interesting to me. But yeah, it's gonna. I don't know what to think about it, Cam. To be honest,
That's gonna be a fun fight, Ward. That's a stylistic matchup that two guys that don't want to do what the other guy's doing. So it's gonna be fun to watch how Sean stays away from the ground game and what Aljo is willing to take standing up to get to the ground.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Real quick, before we get into our last two segments, Joey Chestnut, possibly the greatest athlete of all time, Ward, wins his 16th Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest. I mean, that's insane, first of all, to win something 16 times.
How many did he eat yesterday? Was it 58?
I think he had 63 yesterday. He's on a decline, Ward. He's not in his prime anymore. If you look at the over-under, I think the over-under was set at 71.5.
It was. My uncle bet the over and lost a bunch of money.
That's 2 years in a row. He hasn't even come close to the over. So I'm just saying Chestnut might, he might be content with where he's at. He might not be training as hard, but
hard work beat talent when talent fails to work hard. If anybody wants to start shoving some hot dogs down your throat really quickly, you have a chance to beat Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, and another point, the next closest was 18 away, Ward. So I don't think the rain is as long as he wants to do this, he's going to be good, but the gap's closing a little bit. It was 30 for a few years there, but now it's down to 18.
Yeah.
But moving on as we wrap up the show, we've got Pet Peeve of the Week. Ward, I'm going to let you have the T-box here. Go ahead, brother.
Dude, so this is our favorite segment. This is the fan favorite segment of the week, Pet Peeve of the Week. And, Cam, as we all know, concert season is here upon us. And there's nothing that I hate more than waking up in the morning, going on Snapchat, and seeing 30 different videos of somebody at a concert recording whoever's up there performing, and they're singing in the background. Like, perfect example, especially country concerts, man. Some of these people sound awful. Like, perfect example, Morgan Wallen. I saw somebody that went to the Morgan Wallen concert a couple weeks ago. They record every single song and they're singing in the background, and it sounds freaking awful, man. So that's my pet peeve of the week. If you go to a concert, if you take a video and you're not singing, it's one thing. Do not sing in the background.
Well, if you're going to do it, don't post it for everybody to see.
Don't post it. Exactly.
Have it for you. Post a picture at the concert, have the geotag, whatever.
And I promise you too, Cam, I want to see if you can confirm my statement here. Even when you post a bunch of videos, man, nobody watches them. Everybody just clicks right through them.
Or skips you, bro. I've unfriended people because they do it. It drives me nuts. If I wanted to hear that person sing, you know what I'd do?
I'd buy tickets to the damn concert.
Or I'd take this phone right here and I'd put their music on.
I love it.
I don't need to hear a duet between some person that I necessarily probably don't like.
I love it.
And then have them sing with somebody who probably music I don't like either. And I know what you're saying, Cam. If you don't like it, don't watch it. You don't have a choice on Snapchat sometimes. Sometimes you click on something and it just pops up. So that's what I'm saying. Post a picture. Take all the videos you want. Save them. Don't post them for people to see unless people ask you to see them.
Yep.
That could be my pet peeve of the week. But my pet peeve of the week is people who can't tell the difference between gunshots and fireworks, Ward. Nothing drives me more crazy than if we're sitting outside at dusk at night and you hear loud pops and people go, "Oh my God, is that gunshots?" Dude, it's the 4th of July. You really think somebody's shooting a gun on? Look at the sky. It's lit up.
Who did that?
I'm not saying any names.
Is it a girl with the last name Taylor?
I'm not saying any names. But there are people who every time there's a loud pop at night around this time of the year, they're like, "Oh my God, there's gunshot." No, it's fireworks. That's my pet peeve of the week. Tell me if you agree, because that's something like it shouldn't bother me, but it does.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm not gonna say, or I can't say I've heard that. I haven't heard some, or not recently. Maybe a long time ago. I haven't since. I think most of the people I hang out with around here are pretty used to hearing gunshots. But no, that would drive me nuts too.
But moving on real quick, we've got full plate, empty stomach. I'll kick this one up. My full plate is Ricky Fowler. He got back in the winner's circle this weekend. Shout out Ricky. He's one of the OGs of golf, one of the guys I grew up watching. So it's good to see him
Shout out
back
Ricky.
in the winners. And then my empty stomach is people who were relying on the student loan forgiveness ward. For those people who don't know, the Supreme Court struck down the student loan forgiveness. So if you racked up a big tab on the student government here, it's about time to pay your dues. I would have liked it, don't get me wrong, but it is funny to see the people that were like cashing it in basically to be like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do now? So that's my empty stomach.
There's no free handouts in life, Cam. Everything pays a price. So you want to do something, you're gonna have to pay something to do it. But love the full plate empty stomach, by the way. My full plate is gonna be Joey Chestnut for two reasons. One, he won his 16th Nathan's hot dog eating contest in a row. And number two, I'm not sure if you saw, this guy's in the middle of shoving hot dogs down his face. And there's a protester that comes up and stands in front of him with some sign. Joey Chestnut decides, no, I'm not just going to let this guy sit here. Joey Chestnut puts him in a rear naked choke and throws his ass about 5 feet behind him, which I don't blame him, man. If I'm sitting there trying to eat 70 hot dogs in 10 minutes, you're not happy while you're eating them. You're ready for this to be over. And some dude comes and stands in front of you with a sign trying to protest. Go do that shit somewhere else, man. So,
Ward, I hate to break it to you. That happened last year.
What was it, last year?
That was last
Okay,
year.
well, I saw the video. I didn't see the video of it last year. I saw the video of it today, and I thought that was badass. But he's still going to be my full plate for doing
a year removed. He's still the full plate. I understand. It's all good.
But my empty stomach is actually going to be Natasha Cloud. She is a WNBA player. Cam, not sure if you saw this or not, but 4th of July, she decides to go to social media and talk about how trash the United States of America is and talk about everything that's wrong with our country. I personally thought that she would learn from her good friend Brittany Griner about not to talk trash about the USA. Obviously, this girl, if she feels so strongly or so negatively about the USA, she can happily go to China, happily go to Russia, happily go to Venezuela, happily go to North Korea and see what a communism country like that is all about compared to what we have. And then see if she still thinks this is a trash country. Her friend Brittany Griner did it best, went to jail, talked a bunch of trash about our country, went to jail, and then we go out of our way to trade a Russian arms dealer to get her back. So she knows how well our country is now. But yeah, she's gonna be my empty stomach of the week. It's America's 247th birthday, and you got to shit on them. Come on, man, there ain't no need for that. But yeah, good segment, Cam.
Terrible timing, I will say, on her part to pick the 4th of July to do that. But as we get out, give us your pet peeve, your full plate empty stomach, obviously. Again, you can find us on YouTube and Spotify, the Fat Katz podcast. It's KATZ.
KATZ, baby.
You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Fat Katz Pod. And we're going to get you guys out of here with our song of the week. Ward, let's hear it, brother.
As we've been talking a lot about the 4th of July today, I'm going to throw some Toby Keith in here. You can pretty much throw any Toby Keith song you want to in here. There's something great he's talking about, but I'm going to throw American Soldier in just because, Cam, and you have a lot of family that's in the military. We have a lot of military that is overseas and didn't get the opportunity to celebrate the 4th of July with their loved ones and with their family. So American Soldier by Toby Keith is going to be my song of the week.
Yep, I vow, Ward. The American soldier is the only true hero in this country. So Everybody that served or is serving,
God bless you.
God bless you, and we thank you. I went a little bit of a different route here, Ward. My song of the week is Barry Bonds by Kanye and Lil Wayne. The reason I picked this song is because last time we had song of the week, you cut a promo. So I feel like it's time for me to cut a promo. The main line in that song is, "Here's another hit, Barry Bonds," right? That's what we do every time we put a podcast out.
You damn right.
Like, hey, yo, here's another hit, Barry Bonds. So I just want to say, man, we put our life into this. Like, this is our second job, basically. We appreciate everybody. And for number 13, I want y'all to know that we got another hit coming for y'all.
Hey, the boys are coming strong. Appreciate all the support. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, do what you got to do. But the boys have made it. We're at 13. We're almost at 15. Justin, congratulations again on winning on being our prize winner of the contest that me and Cam threw together. So you will get your prize shortly. We'll connect with you offline about how to get that. Cam, I'll go ahead and let you leave some closing remarks, and I'll say we'll say our statements.
Yep, man. So I want everybody, if you're interested in getting a Fat Katz t-shirt, DM the Instagram, text me, text Ward. We're putting an order in probably next week or 2 weeks. So make sure you get your shirt. We're starting out at $20 a piece. They cost $18 for us to order, so we're making $2 per shirt. So the margins aren't great here, but we want to make sure everybody gets one while they can, while they're at this price, because the more we get, probably the higher they're going to go. So we want the day ones to get the best price, obviously. So again, hit us up, put it out. I'm going to put it on Instagram to remind you guys, but shirts will be coming in the next few weeks.
I honestly can't believe it took us this long to shout out the shirts, but yeah, we'll discuss that next episode. But yeah, great episode, Cam. 13 down the books. Listeners, if y'all made it this far, we owe you a beer, and let's get after it, Cam.
Get ready for 14. Peace.
Great pod, brother.
Yes, sir.